Hello and welcome to the oddschecker Cheltenham Festival preview. This is your Gold Cup day 4 preview, sponsored by Betano. I'm your host, George Ellick, joined as I have been for episodes 1, 2 and 3 by oddschecker's very own horse racing tipster Andy Holding and Betano ambassador Kate Tracy. Right, Gold Cup day, we're nearly there.
Yeah, I'd say we made it.
I can't really work out, am I more tired now, having done all of these shows, or will I be on Friday, having watched the racing all week?
I'd say more tired now.
Yeah, I agree.
You seem to get a second wind, don't you, for the festival?
Well, yes, yeah, exactly. Right, let's start with the Triumph. Before we do, Betano, the sponsors of this show, have a couple of great new customer offers for people at home to make the most of. If you haven't got a Betano account, you can make the most of these. Bet 5 and get £20 in free bets is one of those. 18 plus only and for new customers only. Opt in, bet £5 on horse racing, odds of 2 to 1 or bigger within 3 days of signing up. And you get 4 £5 free bets for certain markets, which will expire 10 days after activation. T's and C's apply. Gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. And Andy, going to come to you first here because the guys at Betano are also boosting Andy and Kate's Festival Naps treble. Kate, we've already gone through in days 1, 2 and 3, so no spoilers here unless you haven't watched those. Kopek the board, John Bon and 6.5 boosted to 14 to 1. Andy, Ballyburn, Factor File and East India Dock in the Triumph. Currently cannot pick them at the top of the market with Betano with Lalamba, joint favourites at 2 to 1. Hello Neighbour 9 to 2. Palladium 9 to 1. Lady Vega Allen 12 to 1. 16 to 1 bar those. This is a match. And I personally, it wouldn't surprise me if either of these goes off, is heavily backed on the day and goes off relatively short. At the moment, they cannot be split in the market, but you are very much team East India Dock.
Yeah, I think there's a split camp, isn't there?
It feels like it's basically the clock versus the eyes.
Yes. Yeah, it's style over substance, isn't it? There's no doubt that Lalamba carried plenty of swagger when he won at Ascot. He was obviously the talking horse going into that race that day. And his victory was such that it wowed the bookmakers, and he ended up parachuting himself into sort of 2 to 1, 7 to 4 favouritism. The victory of East India Dock back in November was a distant memory, and he was kind of like the forgotten horse, wasn't he, until Trials Day, East India Dock. But he absolutely hit the ball out of the park on the figures, as he'd done previously the run before, and it was quite a surprise to myself and Sam and Andy, who we do the figures with, that East India Dock wasn't getting any love at all or attention, because we'd got him absolutely miles clear. We got him the quickest juvenile horse we've had since our Connor, and there's been a hell of a lot of good horses subsequently gone between now and then. He's just such a natural over his hurdles. He's very quick. He's in and out. I mean, Kate knows more about a horse's cadence and stride patterns and the way they are up a hurdle and the way they jump and how much energy they expend and what have you. But he just seems to do it so fluently. He goes over a hurdle like water, doesn't he? He's just unbelievable. And he stays really well. Plus the fact that he's won twice around the track, I think that's got to count for something. Lalamba's got to prove itself around Cheltenham. Look, Lalamba might be as good as what they think, but if East India Dock runs to the level that he has been, and that's the thing that I'm hoping and praying he can he do it again? And tactically, can Sam Twiston-Davies forge himself into a position where he rides the race to let him allow to do again, and he doesn't get embroiled in any silly shenanigans early on, or he tries to blast off and make all the running go crazy? Then I'd like to think that East India Dock might not be usurped because he'll just be too experienced. So that's the way I see it. As a numbers man, I've got to go with a horse that has just set the world on fire in this division this season by a mile. There's not even any contest. When you download the numbers, like there's him up there and the rest are all down here. So he sets a huge standard. I've said all along he should have been favourite. That was the big argument I was having with lots of people after Lalamba had won. I was saying, well, let's not forget about this kid. He's pretty good, and I've stood by that, and it's kind of like worked itself out in the end. But yeah, it's still going to be a great race between the two. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be sort of quite nervously watching it behind my fingers. And hoping that he does come out top. But yeah, I'm coming in off my long run with East India Dock, Merv Hughes style. So let's hope he can get the job
from miles wide as well. That's what he used to do, wasn't it? He used to start out miles on the left. East India Dock, 2-1, Andy's selection. And Kate, I think I'm right in saying that you agree.
Yeah, I'm really pleased that he's a part of Andy's treble here, to be honest. And yeah, really keen on him here. It's tricky, isn't it? Because Lulamba, if it wasn't for those connections, you just wouldn't have that moment of kind of doubt or panic or anxiety at the back of your mind. But of course, we didn't get the Burdett Road Sergino clash in the Triumph last year. But even on the build up to that, you saw what Burdett Road, who is actually East India Dock's half brother as well, what he was doing in the early part of the season, and he was sharp and he was winning, and you just knew though in time Sergino was going to end up being the better horse, as it has transpired then. Of course, we didn't get that in the Triumph last year with those two, so at least we are getting East India Dock and Lulamba going head to head in here. It wouldn't surprise me if down the line Lulamba does turn out to be, as Andy says, everything that they think and hope that he is, and he might be the better horse in the long run then. But it's just when you're trying to find that turning point between the pair of them. But from what East India Dock has shown so far, I think he's better than his half-brother anyway. And also, as Andy says there, the fact he's got the course and distance form, I should add as well, to his name as well, 3 from 3 over hurdles. And he's just setting such a lofty benchmark that if Lulamba is good enough to go and win this, I'll let him go and do that at this price. But right now, East India Dock is definitely the one to be beating. And we know how fantastic James Owen is, how good he is with any manner of horse you could possibly get. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that he'll get his rewards for all of that, and East India Dock will just continue to maintain this unbeaten record over hurdles.
It will be a great moment as well for James Owen, won't it? You know, his first Cheltenham Festival winner, and the way he's handled this horse has been second to none.
Yeah. Indeed. Right, so yeah, 2-1 about East India Dock in this match at the top end. It's going to be a brilliant occasion. I'm, as I say, excited to see which way the market goes in the morning, because you could see it going either way really. One of these two being punted off the boards, and maybe that'll open up some value for the other, but we'll see how it goes. On to the County Hurdle now, where Kopek Demi heads the market at 5-1, but again, unlikely to run here. We think McClory 6-1 alongside Absurd. Lark in the Mountain also 6-1, I should say. Huh?
Lark in the Morning.
Sorry, Lark in the Morning.
When do you like to lark in the mountain?
Yeah.
Probably do, yeah.
Also 6-1. Carjess is 8-1. Valgrand 8-1. 10-1 Ethical Diamonds, and Carniket 12-1 bar those. Kate, who do you like in the County Hurdle?
Yeah, finally. We may be talking about Kopek Demi in vain here, but I've got to mention him at this point anyway, because when you saw this market from the ante-post perspective, you saw McClory heading the way, and you thought, okay, well, yeah, he's been well pointed at this race, but it's the wrong Mullins. Emmett Mullins, as shrewd and wonderful as he is, but you want Willie Mullins or Dan Skelton for this race, winning 9 of the last 10 renewals. Only Peter Fahey was able to get a winner in that time. We know that was with Belfast Banter, who turned out to be a subsequent graded horse and a handicap, went on to win a grade 1 at Aintree on his next start. So you kind of have to have that calibre of horse to be beating Willie Mullins and Dan Skelton. And our good friend Andrew Mount actually said you could probably upgrade Dan Skelton's record in the race, because Paul Nicholls used to have a cracking record in this race when Dan Skelton was his assistant. All of a sudden, that form in the county dropped off when Dan went out on his own. So maybe he should be credited with a few more county hurdle wins. So yeah, so the first 2 horses to stand out on that basis. Kopek Demi, still don't know where he's going to go, but I'm going to mention him in here should they go the shorter route. And Valgrand. So at least, hopefully, I'll get 1 runner then out of my 2 darts in here. But yeah, Kopek Demi, I mean, he is shortest price for the Martin Pipe, but the fact he's been running over 2 mile 2 in France, he could go either way. And it is just fascinating, the fact he's been given this mark of 136 to run at the festival. Stable debut for Willie Mullins. Could be the best handicapped horse at the festival since Gaelic Warrior in the Fred Winter. Didn't quite work out all that well, but as subsequent form has told us, he was very well handicapped in the Fred Winter that year. All the same was Gaelic Warrior. So yeah, the strict conversion rate from French marks would put Kopek Demi on 150. Given he's rated 68 kilograms in France, 2.2 pounds equals 1 kg. So obviously, as we know, for many years now, that was the conversion rate that the BHA were using. But since 2021, they've been using £2 per 1 kg, putting Kopek Demi on 136 instead as a result of that. That makes a whole stone of difference then for him here. Massive, massive difference. So wherever he ends up, I'll just get it in now. He's got to be considered. And if it's the county, then he's got the trainer tick in that box as well then. But also Valgrand as well, trained by Dan Skelton, looks to have been teed up for this. This is his only entry at the festival as well. So hopefully, wherever Kopech goes, Valgrand will be going here.
Yeah, Valgrand 8-1. Obviously, Betano are non-runner, no bets. If you do back Kopech and he doesn't run here, then of course you get your money back. I mean, the exchanges, there is plenty of money queuing for the Martin Pipe at kind of 4.2, 4.3, 4.4. Here, there's not much. It does suggest, but stranger things have happened.
He's handicapped to go well there anyway.
Yeah, so exactly.
He's handicapped to go well anyway.
Exactly. We'll get on to the Martin Pipe shortly. Andy, how do you see the county?
Yeah, interesting that Skelton's got Valgrand in it, having won it several times with some nice handicap plots. Not an absolute paid-up member of the Valgrand fan club at the moment. I'm not sure he's quite as good as they've run some in recent times, but it's possible. I'll be very interested in Joseph O'Brien's horse, Like in the Morning. Joseph hasn't won this yet, I don't think, but he had a massive eye-catching run, if you could call it that, in the fog in the over Christmas, not the DRF, when he was basically just having a tootle around the back, but finished his race off very eye-catchingly. Obviously won the Fred Winter last season. Looks as though he's been teed up for this meeting again, from a yard that Kate's already said has carried all before them this season. Talking of Willie Mullins, if there is going to be a Willie Mullins potential blot here, if it's not going to be Kopech Demi, because we think he's going to go to the boys' race, it could well be Carnacay, who ties in with Kopech, the board, and Romeo Coolio. Second to Romeo Coolio, last time, 5th behind...
other way around.
Other way around, sorry, yeah. Beaten 49 lengths by Romeo Coolio.
Correct, yeah.
And then beaten 11 lengths by Kopech.
13.
Oh, 2 lengths
Unlucky,
off.
unlucky 13.
I thought it was a bit of wiggle room, isn't it?
Won by how many lengths ahead of Tremor down Mexico way?
Oh, no, you'd ask me that now. Probably a distance or something like that.
No, you had it. It was 11. That's
11.
That's obviously why.
I know there was 11 in there somewhere, yeah. God. Yeah, so he could be quite interesting, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Off 146.
Yeah.
But yeah, Like in the Morning. I think he's as far as I could see, he looks the biggest plot job.
Carnacay is 10-1. Lark in the Morning is 6-1. On to the Mare's Chase now. Dino Blue is the 4-1. Sorry, 5-4. If only 4-1. 5-4 favourite with Betano. Only by Night 4-1. Allegrida Vassi 5-1. Bioluminescence 6-1. Spindleberry 13-2. Limerick Lace 7-1. Telepathique 10-1. 12-1 bar those. Andy?
Yeah, Dino Blue right favourite. A lot of good judges are on this. I'm not. Second in the race last year to the inform at the time, Limerick Lace. She kind of huffed and puffed to get the better of Allegrida Vassi the other day, but she did manage to win despite being on the wrong part of the track. I think she'll uphold the form. I'm not totally convinced about Allegrida Vassi with her finishing efforts sometimes. Only by Night, very interesting, won very well last time at Exeter. She comes in on the crest of a wave, and I think she's the number one Gavin Cromwell horse this year, because as I mentioned, Limerick Lace not quite so hot, and Bioluminescence was a little bit disappointing the other day, and she would want it genuinely soft. Spindleberry goes to Ferry House, and the only one I can mention is Telepathique. What an amazing job that Lucy Wadham has done with this mare. Risen through the ranks from low-grade handicaps to winning a listed race at Fakenham, or good handicap at Fakenham, and then winning a listed race, beating Bride's Hill at Huntingdon, despite jumping out to her left. Gave a lot of ground away to Bride's Hill, who's not a bad horse. She'll be off in front and setting a really good gallop. She jumps for fun, Telepathique. It wouldn't surprise me if she ran well for a long, long way. But at the price at the moment, given that I think she's likely to come here, I think Only by Night looks a fairly solid each way bet for the Cromwells. Only by Night, 4-1, best price as it stands. Kate, how do you see it?
Oh, yeah, when I first looked at this, I just thought this is going to kill me, because Dino Blue, I think the absolute world of. I was so lucky. I got to ride her out every day 2 years ago. She was second in the Grand Annual. She's an absolute gem of a thing. I call her Princess Dino. You know, she's the apple of my eye. I just wonder about her over this trip again, though. And I know you can say in the race last year, it wasn't the trip that beat her. It was the ride on Limerick Lace, and she was just caught on the back foot there, and she was staying on fine up the hill. And in the Grand Annual prior to that, and again, I led her up in that race. You know, I was watching every part of the race as live, so confident everywhere. Given the pace that she was going up front, she absolutely walked through 2 out, bust for last as well, and still stayed on reasonably enough considering she basically just got punched by 2 fences behind Mascada that day. But I just wonder, she's a Dr. Dino, and Dr. Dinos, we know, definitely don't say 3 miles, and that's really come to the fore in the Irish point-to-point scene of late. That's where basically you can find the value within these horses of the Dr. Dinos. They don't say 3 miles, so you can pick up a bit of a value purchase and out of the Irish point-to-point sphere now. The 2.5 is still that bit of a question mark. She is so fast though, and she is the class act in the race. She should go and win this on class alone. I'd love to see her absolutely win this. And I know that Spindleberry, she is being targeted at Fairy House, hasn't she? Are they completely conclusive about that?
That's what they've said.
Yeah, I just wondered if there was that half a temptation.
I think because she's better going right-handed, I think that's the notion behind that.
That's it. So's Alacori Devassi. And I don't know, I just wondered if they were tempted to go here. I thought she would have a right chance, but I don't think, because she'll see out the trip beautifully. She is better right-handed, but Novice is doing so well in this sphere, 2 from 2 over fences. The form's stacking up. As I say, she will stay, but I say it's probably a wasted verdict because they cited after last time that she was going to go to Fairy House anyway. So, yeah, so she's probably not going to go here. But if she was, on a slight chance, at least I've mentioned her. But I'd love to see Dino win, but I couldn't be siding with her currently at these prices.
There is a few quid queuing up a kind of mid-teens prices about Spindleberry, suggesting it may not be totally...
No, that's it. Just knowing how the minds work out of Close Sutton, you wouldn't be surprised if it was a last-minute decision for them to put her in here. But yeah, I just think that she's improving all the while. Yeah, she's
13-2 here, no bet, and kind of drifting. And you wonder why she'd be drifting given no bet. She doesn't run, get money back anyway. You should be priced up the price that you would be if you run. On to the Albert Bartlett now, the race before the Gold Cup. Final demand is the 11-8 favourite here, the Yellow Clay 3-1, the Big Westerner 9-2, Jasmine DeVoe 10-1, Jet Blue 10-1, Wingman 10-1, 12-1 bar those. I mean, obviously the top end of the market, massive question marks about the runners here, but this is generally a race where you want to look at horses that aren't single figure prices anyway to find a winner. Kate, what have you found in terms of your fancies here?
I know, I led up the winner of this race 3 years ago now, the Nice Guy, at a big price at 20. Hence why I led up the winner, because I was just given whatever big price outsider as kind of, you know, like,
there you go, Kate. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much. All of the main candidates, they already had their lads and lasses, and then I kind of get whatever's left over. And goodness me, there I am, absolutely. Yeah, don't know what I'm doing here in the winner's enclosure, but yeah, so it can go to big price horses. If the Yellow Clay was going here, then I would be all over him. However, I have got said bigger price horse, Jet Blue. I've been talking about him all season then I say all season, actually. No, that would have been very clever. After winning the trial. Yeah, after winning the trial race back in December as well. And it was interesting going into that race because he was being backed and he had the massive question mark over the trip. There was no reason to suggest he was going to be getting the 3 miles that day. And he was a really small, compact type. And I know that Professor Caroline Tisdale, his owner, spoke about it pre-race and said, he just doesn't look the same as these big, powerful, staying, chasing types in here. And even James Reevely, who rode him that day, he said he's very untypical French horse. He's all about stamina and everything that you can do with him throughout the races. So yeah, as soon as he went and won that, I almost hoped that they were going to put him away, come back for the main event in March. So he's already proven over the course and distance. And yeah, and it's interesting with Caroline Tisdale, the fact she was saying about her French horses are paying for her British-based horses now. And this horse has been a big flag bearer, so I wouldn't be underestimating him just because he's coming over the English Channel for this. So yeah, Jet Blue for me.
Jet Blue 10-1 for Kate. It's almost too short for Albert Bartlett 10-1, isn't it?
I know. I was just going to say, as soon as you said 10-1, I thought,
yeah, can't win.
No.
Andy.
Jet Blue for me as well.
Whoa,
no, really?
Amazing, yeah.
We did not discuss this beforehand.
We have not compared notes at all.
No.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the way he won at Cheltenham that day. He went through the race like a goddess. It's one of them ones where if you didn't know his run style, you didn't know he was. It was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Coming there on the bridle, like, you know, it was like, is this a monster kind of thing coming over the hill? And you know, the form's been upheld, hasn't it? It's not like he beat rubbish that day. It was the yellow car, was it? Yellow car?
Yellow car,
yes.
Western Night.
Went on to win the River Don.
Yeah.
time was very good. I mean, he's the only course and distance winner in the field, which probably is, the state in the flaming obvious, because there's not many have run here this season. But look, he knows his way around here. He's tough, and he'll pretty much handle any ground. So yeah, I'd agree with Kate. I think he's underestimated here.
JetBlue 10-1, the double selection for the guys. Exciting in the Albert Bartlett. On to the Gold Cup now, and we have some offer in the Gold Cup. Galopin de Champs 2-1 currently for the Gold Cup with Betano. However, if you haven't got a Betano account and you set one up, there is a new customer offer where you can get 30-1 about the Gold Cup favourite. Max bet is £1. New customers only. As I said, T's and C's do apply, and winnings paid in free bets, which expire after 5 days. T's and C's do apply. But yeah, I mean, that's a cracking offer for anyone that hasn't got a Betano account. Gambleaware.org. Please bet responsibly. 2-1 Galopin de Champs, Banbridge 4-1, Factorfile 6-1, Monty's Star 10-1, 14-1 Corbett's Cross. I mean, to have a 2-1 favourite in a Gold Cup, Andy, is quite something. And it's reflective, I guess, both of Galopin de Champs' undoubted quality and a pretty weak renewal to the race. Yeah,
we're probably going to have to wait at least another season or so before the next generation come through. Your Ballyburns, genuine, potential Grade 1 horses to trouble him, because he has been beaten a fairly weakish division. We thought Factorfile might be the new coming, but he hasn't quite cut the mustard over the 3-mile trip against him in genuine, strongly run races up until now. We're left with Banbridge, who's the main pretender based on the prices, but he's very much ground dependent. I do think he'll stay, by the way, because you can't stay a strongly run King George like he did without seeing it out really well. So I'm not really into that school of thinking it's anything to do with the trip with him. If it was genuine good ground on the day, or close to good ground, he'd have a serious chance. But then you look at the rest. Monty's Star well beaten by Galopin de Champs in the DRF. Where's he going to find 15 lengths from? Corbett's Cross, he's not quick enough. Clainscray Rest was finished 50th the other day beyond Sanikia. Grey Dawn is not going to run. Ahoy Seniors looks as though he's gone. Long Press, he's got a very good record going left-handed. Don't know why they ran him at Ascot. He could easily run okay. Real Whacker's not good enough. So, I mean, the only advice I'd give you to anyone who's playing the festival this season is not necessarily to lump on Galopin de Champs, but every bet you have for the course of the week, even if it's just an each-way double, 4-1, 6-1, just do everything and just have a little fiver each way, whatever your stake is, just have 5 or 10 of each way on your horse in that race and put Galopin de Champs on. So you back that horse, like let's say Romeo Collier to win the Supreme, and I'll just have a tenner each way on Romeo. And if you get like 4 or 5 winners during the week,
spins onto,
you'll have a nice little pot, you have a few £100 going onto Galopin de Champs. That's what I'm going to do. So not probably everyone's cup of tea, but that's the only logical suggestion of thinking outside the box to make something happen with Galopin de Champs.
I mean,
he'll probably win, won't he?
Sticking everything. Yeah. I mean,
he'll just win,
sure. And what has to happen for him not to win?
Something like what happened to him a couple of years ago when he fell at the last.
Yeah.
God forbid. That's the only thing I can see going wrong. But I think they know how to ride him now. They'll probably try and cut the jeopardy factor out by getting him off in front. They get him off in front at Leopardstown. Why can't they do it here?
Indeed. Right. Easy Galopin win. Take that 30-1. Kate, do you agree? Can you see any way to get against him?
No, what a new customer offer that is for sure. No, literally what Andy said there. Yeah, to win racing's blue ribboned prize for the 3rd time when he's going to join the likes, well, hopefully, the likes of Golden Miller, who won 5, Cottage Rake 3 wins, Arkle 3 times, the most recent best mate, bringing up a hat-trick in 2004. And Galopin, he scared away, well, I say he scared away the opposition. What opposition, as you both said there, is out there at present until these novices come up? But the novices from last year we thought were going to come up and prove themselves have fallen short to him anyway. So yeah, he's hopefully going to cement himself in history with a 3rd win then in the Gold Cup as well. But he's just completely taken his form forwards again there this season. So think the world of him. Think he's going to win it. Monty Star, I think I'm currently the holder of the balaclava at the minute. So yeah, provided the race doesn't continue to cross up, which it could do, I'll retain the balaclava for I say each way, the place market then for Monty Star, because Galopan's just going to win this.
They'll be without the favourite market on the day, of course.
Yeah, without. Yeah, exactly. So, that's it nearer the time then.
You've got to consider that.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. And I'm hoping Monty Star will do next best. I wouldn't give him much of a hope to beat Galopan by any means. So the each way part of the bet, I'll be chucking away the win part of it. So yeah, the without or the place market then for him. But I can completely forgive what he's done so far going into open company as well. And of course at the festival last year, when he was butting heads with the aforementioned Factophile and the Brown Advisory, yes, he came off second best, but we've just been talking about Factophile, what a talented operator he is. And I know he hasn't won in his 2 starts so far this campaign, but he's been lightly raced. And he was chucked into the Grade 3 New Year's Day chase at Tremor. Track didn't suit him. Embassy Gardens given a brilliant front-running ride by Michael O'Sullivan that day as well. And it just caught him out, the Monty Star. So I wasn't harsh upon that. He reversed form with Embassy Gardens last time out in the Irish Gold Cup, finishing 5th, beaten just under 8 lengths as well. I don't think that was much of a disgrace. So he is getting there. And again, another cliche from racing, the de Bromhead form, as soon as we get to the spring festivals, it just goes up another notch. So if Monty Star can make that further jump up again, then I'm hoping he can do next best of the rest behind Galopan.
Monty Star 10-1, but as Andy says, maybe one to look out for in the without Galopan market. Hopefully if it's a procession, it should be a great thing to see on Friday, even if it's not a great betting proposition. Hunter Chase now. Andy, you've already told me you've got nothing here. It's on the line as a 3-1 favourite ahead of Angels
Dawn. I'll play my Phil Rouge, as they used to do, into knockout, and give that one a skip.
Yeah, Angels Dawn in the 7-2. Will it go ahead? 4-1. Rye Hill 7-1. 9-1 Music Drive. 10-1 All Mankind. And Shearer 12-1 Bar. Andy's at the bar. Kate, anything you like here?
Just to put the disclaimer out there, this is not me kind of trying to give any financial advice into this race at all, but just for the horse to look out for in terms of a selection for it. All Mankind, who you could get at a monster price only a few weeks ago, before he was flagged up by his trainer on Nick Luck's podcast there that he's been bossing things in the point-to-point sphere of late. And we know what a talented, slightly mad horse he was back in the day, winning the 2020 Henry VIII Novices Chase to Dan Skelton. But we were talking and eulogising about James Owen, and of course his wife trains him now to go hunter chasing, point-to-pointing as well, but within the same sphere then, same yard. And he's really been bossing it, and he's been settling well, reportedly. I'm not going to profess to have watched these races back as such, but apparently he's been settling better, everything I've read. He's been jumping well as a result. Very talented horse, Grade 1 winner his heyday, and he's still only a 9-year-old. So
I mean, it's only 5 years ago he was sent off 7-2 second favourite for the Triumph.
Yeah, which is mad, isn't it? So, as I say, not in terms of financial advice here by any means, but I just thought he was the interesting horse to flag up.
Yeah, really interesting. All Mankind. Andy.
Yes.
I was going to say, who went off favourite in that Triumph 5 years ago?
Oh, Christ. Wasn't Goshen, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
Not allowed to mention his name.
What a shout.
Right, on to the Martin Pipe. And Kopek to me is the 5-2 favourite for the Martin Pipe. Woohoo is 5-1, McClory 7-1, 12-1 Carla Conti, 12-1 Ordinary Joe, and Hamsian also 12-1. Plenty of those there. East India Express as well, Impostoir. Andy, what do we make of this? You know, there's always one in the Martin Pipe. It normally doesn't go 5-2 until about 10 minutes before the race, and here we are on Wednesday the 5th of March, and it's already 5-2.
I know. Yeah, I mean, it could get silly, couldn't it? A lot depends on how the Mullins team have done, how JP's done those colours. It's the last race of the festival. Punters are absolutely, holding the folding, as it were. It could just get completely silly. I remember Waterford Whispers went from sort of 16s into, what was it? I think he went a 5-2, didn't he? Or some 9-4 to win the last, and that came unstuck. I mean, the only evidence I've got is just watching him off the videos on ATR from the Autoy run. He looked great. He hit the line very hard over 2-2. I've got no time comparisons, so I don't know what it amounted to. Obviously, JP fit or his representatives to buy him. So he's obviously been tipped off. He's a fair horse. He's obviously, as Kate's explained already, with the weights and measures, got away quite lightly with 136. So it's all there for all to see. I can't possibly tip him. It's not in my nature to be tipping a horse I've got no numbers on. I've got to be genuine and stay loyal to the formulas that I've got. If he wins, he wins. I quite like JP's other one. I'm not sure when he comes here, but I do like McClory as a horse. He's in the county hurdle as well. I don't think they'll make a decision yet. I'd like him in whichever race he ran in, but I prefer him in this because I think 2.5 will suit him. I thought he won the DRF despite 2 miles. I thought he won with a bit in hand. It means he gets in here rather than miss out because he needed to go up to win. I do like him. And I'll just throw one at you at a massive price. Actually, I think Tap on the Go is another one to mention as well from the same connections as Watford Whispers last year. I think he'll go okay. Ben Paulin, I'm hoping he's going to have a really good meeting, but he runs one here that is any price. No questions asked. Based on our numbers, he comes out incredibly well on the Sydney Bank form when he got beat by one of Nicky Henderson's. I can't remember the name, which is handy.
No questions asked.
No, exactly, yeah. But Jack Jr. was in it, Jax Jr.
Yeah.
And Jax Jr. went a really, really good clip that day. He tried to serve it up to no questions asked and the Henderson horse. The Henderson horse ended up winning, having looked beat. And no questions asked came out of it really creditably and finishing second. He needed one more run to qualify, so Ben quickly looked at the program book and chucked him in at Ludlow when he was 8 on, just to get the run into him. So it was job done, and he's now in the Martin Pipe. He's off a reasonable mark, and he's 33 to 1. He's got the perfect.
He's 20 to 1.
Sorry, he's 20 to 1. You might get 33s on the day.
You might do, yeah.
You might get 33s on the day, 5-6 places.
Not after you've given him this.
I think he's going to be a bigger player than a lot of people think, because he's got a lovely, quiet way of moving through a race. He wants to strongly run events. I quietly think he'll run all right.
No questions asked there for Andy. Kate, what have you got for us in the lucky last?
Yeah, well, obviously I'm going to be keeping the eye on Kopek Demi because everything I previously mentioned, hoping he kind of goes for the county. But yeah, at this current price, so I couldn't be putting him up here, but at least we flagged him anyway, that if he does go here, just, yeah, you have to watch out and have something on him then for this. But at the bigger price for this selection, as it currently stands, is Beat the Bat in here, if I could get the quote price on him. Basically, it's the step back up in trip for him.
16 to 1.
16s, and I believe he's a bigger price for the Coral Cup as well. So I'm hoping they're leaning more towards the Martin Pipe for him. But yeah, it's mainly on the step up in trip front because he's faced 2 miles the last twice. And as we know, the William Hill Handicap Hurdle, as it's now known, Newbury's big handicap hurdle, so often just a big pointer towards the festival. And he was flat to the boards throughout that race, but all he did was just stay on to finish 5th, and that was behind, of course, as we know, the really impressive Joyous, who beat them out of sight. But you cluster the next sort of bunch together, and there wasn't that much to separate them. So we know where he is in terms of his mark. He's actually been given back £2 for that. Still a mark of 133 is about where he should be, I think, but from when you look at his pedigree and you look at his first start of this season at Haydock over 2 mile 3, it's just a far more comfortable trip for him. So I'm hoping, if anything, he's just been sharpened up from those 2 most recent runs, including at Newbury. He'll be sharp for that, the solid experience again. Not that he really needs that of the big hustle and bustle handicap hurdle, just to get him to go into the festival on the back of a race like that. So useful. So yeah, a horse to be there or thereabouts at a decent price. Beat the Bat.
And that brings to a close this year's Cheltenham Festival previews with oddschecker and Betano. Thank you very much to Andy and to Kate for sharing their tips and thoughts and insight ahead of what promises to be an absolutely fantastic week of racing at the Cheltenham Festival. Betano have you covered in so many ways. As I say, offering all those markets. There's also top trainer markets and other things you can find up on site. And also a couple of really good new customer offers as well. Bet £5, get £20 in free bets. Get 30 to 1 on Galopin Deschamps to win the Gold Cup. T's and C's apply, both of those. They're both for new customers only. You have to opt in. There are restrictions on stakes and everything else, and winnings are paid in free bets, but loads to get stuck into. T's and C's apply. Gambleaware.com. Please gamble responsibly. Oddscheck have you covered for all your fixed odds betting needs. And Andy's selections will be up on Oddschecker the night before racing every single day. We're nearly there now. It feels like we're about to get to the Cheltenham Festival. Enjoy it. Ensure you're gambling responsibly if you are betting on it, and we'll see you soon.